And shame on JD Vance for taking the bait on that. In response to Andrew Colvet's questioning, he's going to lecture us. He's going to come in and he's going to lecture us. Take a listen to what JD Vance has to say.
Again, if your instinct is to go after not the left-wing radicals who are assaulting Savannah, or not the people who shot Charlie Kirk, but if your instinct is to go after a young mother because she's grieving in a way that you find you find wrong, well, why don't you stay in your lane and mind your own business?
Yeah, amen.
Grief is complicated, and
grief is complicated.
And so there's another angle of this, Andrew, which is just so absurd, which is that people will say that Erica, she's been doing this or she's been doing that, and I would be doing something different. And it's like, first of all, that's fine. Like, if you want to criticize somebody because you have a disagreement, disagree with my politics, disagree with something that Erica or Andrew say on the Turning Point podcast.
We do.
But this desire to go after her for the way she's grieving her husband, that's the most preposterous thing I've seen in a very long time. And I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in politics.
Okay, first off, we do criticize them all the time for what they say on the podcast. The whole public has been doing that actually since everything happened. Please stop saying this repeat phrase that everyone grieves differently. It doesn't matter how many times you say it, it doesn't make it true. Okay, you can't just say stuff. Everybody grieves differently. Yeah, no, for sure. Everyone that I know does this. No one. That's why it stands out to people. And people go, this is strange. Most people would fear going out. They would want to be closer to their kids. Stop trying to constantly feed us this slop. But the audacity to say something like he said that it was the most preposterous thing that he has seen in politics in a very long time. People criticizing Erica Kirk. That's the most preposterous thing he's seen in politics in a very long time. Disagreeing with the new CEO and chairman. This is not just a widow. This is the new CEO and chairman of TPUSA, a position that she did not earn. Nothing that she has done warrants her being in that position. And that to him is like, whoa, I can't believe people are doing this. I've seen some preposterous things just over the last few weeks in politics that should probably rank higher on your list, okay? Like when you guys blew up that school. 150 Iranian schoolgirls were killed, and then you lied about it. That, to me, feels a little more preposterous. I mean, it was not just even 2 days ago that Trump said that he thought Jesus was a Red Cross doctor. That was a little preposterous. Y'all just out here lying about things. I don't know, the Epstein files? Did you have time to go through that, Mr. Vice President? Nothing in there ranked more preposterous for you than us criticizing Erica Kirk? How about Trump just generally attacking a pope because he's calling for peace? How about Trump saying that Brigitte Macron is hot? That was pretty preposterous, that she's got it. It's not even close. The literal ticket you guys ran on was calling for peace. Now you're attacking the Pope, or Trump is attacking the Pope because he's calling for peace. That feels pretty preposterous. Going to war with the explicit aim of opening the Strait of Hormuz, which was already opened before you began the war, is pretty preposterous. Gas prices right now are pretty preposterous. Us criticizing a grieving widow who can't keep her story straight about anything? No, that shouldn't even hit your radar. So please do not lecture us, JD. Do not.
Yeah, that's right. Like, if JD really believes it's more important to defend Erica Kirk instead of solving some actual problems who are also created by his own administration, by the way, that says already enough, and it also explains you why this whole administration is one big clown show. Because Candace is right. I wish JD was more busy telling his boss, Donald J. Trumpstein, who campaigned with no more wars, to stop this war. I wish JD Plant was more busy telling his boss as well, who campaigned with, I'm gonna be transparent, to stop covering up the Epstein files. And as long as he is not doing that, I just don't trust him. But I just don't trust a guy anyway who changed his name multiple times, who is wearing eyeliner, and then he's acting here at Turning Point USA, look how great I am, I'm defending the grieving widow. Go solve some actual problems. You campaigned with making America great again, and until now we haven't seen anyone making America great again. It only looks like you're making America worse day after day. Stop this nonsense, start solving some actual problems. It's just, what a joke, this guy.
Okay, the lecture that is coming from you is exactly why we don't like Erica, because we see it for exactly what it is. It's elite. She has money and connections. She can call Vice President JD Vance. She can get the Secretary Scott Bessent to issue a letter on demand, demanding you stop looking into their finances. She can get Trump to say how much Charlie loved her in his Easter speech. It's the balcony approach that makes us sick. We feel it. You guys looking down in the crowd like we're animals and you're somehow more dignified. Okay, Mr. Vice President, respectfully, our friends aren't in the Epstein files. And I have enough common sense to know that the reason we refer to it as common sense is because it's shared amongst the commoners, us, the majority. And right now, the left and the right, the internet, we have correctly identified the nature of your friend, Erica Kirk. So please, I beg of you, we are 7 months into this thing. Please do not give us more Fed slop. We have had our fill. And if it is truly your desire to transform hearts and minds about Erica, might I very humbly suggest that you start with a story that makes sense about September 10th. What happened? One that doesn't feature magical bullets and Superman necks and trannies that write out entire confessions in the spirit of a Jane Austen novel, my love. One which doesn't feature company employees who witnessed the shooting and for some incomprehensible reason neglect to call 911, but instead rush to remove cameras within minutes. That would be my advice. Rather than lecturing us from a balcony, string together a coherent story and a timeline for the commoners. Please and thank you. Anyway, moving on from that, on to some other things that are happening behind the scenes. Essentially, Turning Point is now just in the business of creating an illusion. And by an illusion, I mean that even when they are posting events of her being greeted at events with thunderous applause behind the scenes, you should know that middle schoolers and high schoolers are being forced in some scenarios to sit in these events. It's mandatory. Okay, they have no option. So remember when you went to school and there was assembly, when you had to go to assembly in the middle of the day? That is the state of affairs at Turning Point USA. They are the administration. It's an assembly. Surprise, Erica Kirk is here. And they're like, look, the auditorium is filled. Like, I guess to keep it real, if I was in high school, I was really bad at chemistry. If he offered 5 extra points and was like, Candace, you can bring up this really bad grade that you got if you go sit with Erica Kirk in the assembly right now or after school. No, I still wouldn't do it. But I'd think about it. I don't wish them bad. I just wish them truth. I want them all to stop lying about everything and anything and thinking that a JD Vance or a sprinkle of Trump is going to change things. Please stop abusing the public with lies. And already, since more things are leaking, Andrew is commuting the story. Right. Yesterday it was, this is happening because of the people back at home. Now he knows stuff is coming out about the high school event that was canceled on Monday, but he's trying to fit it into this puzzle, trying to make it work somehow, that he announced it on stage suddenly that Erica wouldn't be attending. And here he is on Charlie Kirk's show this morning with their latest excuse that's dropping. Take a listen.
Obviously, the big part of the news was that Erica she canceled her appearance at that because of security threats that were made against her. It was something we were, monitoring for days before the event. We actually had a high school event that was planned to be before the college event in the area that we had to cancel a few days before because of the increased online chatter that we were monitoring. Our security team, I should say, was monitoring. And so we thought, we got the Secret Service, everything should be fine at the main event. But what ended up happening, and I have to be somewhat careful here because our security team does, obviously wants to be a little bit circumspect in the way that we talk about this because we don't want to give the bad guys any more ideas. But it was a situation where they were trying to dox her travel and monitor her travel, suggesting different ways that people could attack her. And it was like something we were actively trying to navigate and change itineraries, move locations. Nobody wants to live that way. It was a terrible experience in many, many ways, and I feel terrible for Erica. And ultimately, when you're in that moment and the security team looks at you and says, we can't guarantee your safety, at some point you just have to say, we'll do this a different way.
come on, guys. Like, are you kidding me? Do you really believe this? Like, maybe it's just me, but I don't believe anything of what he just said. Like, now they want us to believe that Erica Kirk is hiding, that she couldn't go to like the Turning Point USA event because there was a threat for her safety. Like, are you kidding me? I wish Charlie's security was as good as her security because they can see almost everything coming, it looks like. But maybe it was just like I don't know anything about the case. It could be the case that it was something real, and then I can understand it. But I almost feel like it was just like a hater, like putting or placing some weird comments online or like under her video, and now she's gonna act like there was a threat for her safety. Like, are you kidding me? She wants to be in the spotlight 24/7. She wants to be famous or something like that. She wants to be the leader of Turning Point USA, and then she's gonna complain when you have like some haters. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's okay to like. I don't know what kind of comments she received, but and I'm not saying it's okay, but if you are like famous or if you want to be in a spotlight 24/7, you shouldn't be complaining if you have some people who are gonna write some nasty things, right? I mean, that's kind of like part of the deal, but again, I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I wish Charlie's security was as good as her security because it looks like she have one of the best securities in the world. Like, are you kidding me? She is hiding now. She couldn't go to her own event because of a threat for her safety. I don't know. I just don't believe this. Maybe it's just me, but I don't believe that.
Tough job, Andrew. It's truly a tough job that Andrew Colvett has. I just gotta keep up with the crowd and pivot the stories, try to make it make sense. The plane, there was a threat. You know, we tried to move the FBO and charter a different plane. We don't know the tail number. You don't have a tail number. What were they sharing? I was just like, what are we talking? You guys have multiple planes Turning Point USA. Oh, it just was a threat. We just can't tell you too much. We can't tell you, even though we announced it on stage. We know that people are asking for more. We just want to honor the security, and these threats are very serious. And that's why when Charlie multiple times texted me on the security team the day before saying he thought he was going to be killed, we don't like to talk about that. We don't talk about that threat. That threat, we don't want to talk about. This one, we want you to know it's your fault. So don't criticize Erica. Yeah. Emotionally manipulative, narcissistic. I reject this, and you should too. Anyway, we are going to be back after a brief break with an update regarding Pastor Victor Marx. He responded, and it's interesting. We'll be right back. All right, you guys, Pastor Victor Marx, what can I say? He was a difficult subject to cover. A lot of editorial decisions had to be made because there was just so much. There was just so much to choose from. And I want to be clear, the information that we got about his biography, that came from Victor Marx. We could have put together tons of clips. He tells his story many times, many ways, and we just were like, okay, let's try to reduce this to the facts about his life, who his father was, who his stepdaddy was, the things that he has said. And we didn't even include the stuff going on with his family, his daughter, very public back forth that went on where she was accusing him of abuse, and there's a lot of that. And then she retracted her statement after they began speaking again. And okay, we were like, okay, we don't need to include that. We didn't include the young woman who alleges that Victor Marx kidnapped her from Canada. The people had her on the shows and she discussed how she was kidnapped. But there was a lot going on with Pastor Victor Marx. I think it is fair to suggest that he has a checkered background. And we have never received more emails and more tips about anyone. Actually, in our tips inbox, it was a recurring theme. You need to look into Victor Marx, Victor Marx, Victor Marx. Victor Marx allegedly was the first person who announced that Charlie Kirk had died. And then he deleted that post. I remember that from all of the things that were happening. It was like, why did Victor Marx announce it first? And then he deleted that post. So yeah, I think we did a good job kind of sizing it down to the relevant portions of what these pastors seem to get up to. I don't even know where he pastors. Where is he a pastor at? I think that was one of the points that was raised by Corby Hall. It's like, I realize he doesn't have a church. I don't know why he says he's a pastor. And I don't know why Erica can't make normal friends. None of my friends had these sorts of backgrounds. And they're not the people that I would want to see in the event of an emergency. But like JD said, she be grieving differently, y'all. She be grieving differently. Anyway, so Victor Marx clearly saw my episode very quickly, and he took to both his Instagram and X to issue a very quick response. It's a little weird. I think it's weird. Let me know if you think it's weird. This is what he said. Ooh.
Well, alrighty then. Love you, Candace. Let me know when you want me to come on the show. Praying for you.
Okay, but like, why do the glasses have to come off? Why do we have to go all like Clark Kent about it? Well, alrighty then. Give it to me again. Well, alrighty then. Give it to me one more time. I gotta watch that again.
Well, alrighty then.
Okay, can we had a DJ booth going where we just like get these sounds that we like? That's a bite. That's a bite. Yeah, I just need to have that little, whenever I'm feeling, well, alrighty then. Anyway, I don't know what the point of that was. And he then published, oh, I've been accused, or in this episode, this is what he suggested. Buddy, you can't be accused of what you're telling us your bio is. Now, I read Corby Hall's statement in its entirety, fleshed out what he had to say, felt like he was a very honest person. And again, he was ready to come on the show and discuss everything, bring all of his evidence. So my instincts are usually right about people, and my instincts about you were that, I don't know. You had supplements that you were doing with David Harris. David Harris calls God Papa. I don't know. And he, like, you guys said that like the supplements were going to help human sex trafficking victims. It's too much. It's just too much. Okay. My senses, my spidey senses say no good. Anyways, I obviously responded instantly. I wrote this beneath the post. We are actually going to have Corby Hall of Fold AR on, and he is game to do the show with you. I am happy to have you both on if you agree. And Corby Hall said, yeah, I'm good. Let's do this. He actually suggested it, Corby Hall. He said, because he saw the post first and said, I would 100% do this face-to-face. Like he's very serious about what this man did to him. And like I said, he has all of the evidence, so it wouldn't make sense for me. I couldn't rebut anything that Victor Marx said about Fold AR. We were all going to have Corby. Let's make this happen. And so because I wanted to make sure that we could establish a date, I instantly then reached out privately. I will show you guys that. I wrote, hi, Victor, give me the best number. We would love to set it up. Corby Hall is completely game to join. Best to have him there since I read his letter and he has the proof, etc., of what you wanted from him, plus the prayer that you prayed over him. We have we hit go on today's episode, not heard back from him. I don't even see that it's read. He may not have read receipts on, but I obviously responded exactly where he posted the video. We will keep you posted, and I am totally game and very interested. Finally, we got one of these pastors on the hook. I want to reel him in. I want to reel him in and talk about his relationship with Turning Point USA, how he got found as a pastor, Calvary, what goes on near that military base. It feels to me like a whole military operation, I'm going to be honest.
Guys, believe me, Victor Marx will not be doing a show with Candace Owens. He is just acting like this tough guy, and now when he knows that she is okay with doing a show with him, that he is allowed to go on her show, then he suddenly ignores her. Like, surprise, surprise. And by the way, why is he making like this weird ass video, like taking his glasses off like that, and then he's talking so weird? Why would you do that? And is he really a pastor? Because exactly what Candace said, he's saying that he is a pastor, but from what church? What church? I never heard like any church like where he's a pastor from. So maybe I'm wrong about it, but I don't believe that he is like a real pastor. And by the way, no one cares about Victor Marx. Like no one cares about him. Almost no one knows him. So why would you give him some airtime? Why would you give him some attention? I rather wish something completely off topic, or I rather wish Candace was, for example, debating Erica Kirk. That would be like amazing. Imagine those two debating each other, doing a show together. That would be like one of the most watched shows from this year. The most important show of this year. Or let's say Candace Owens debating Nick Fuentes. That would even be better. I'd rather like have Candace Owens spending some time on that, and instead of like these people who are not very important, who think that they are very important, but no one really cares about them. Like Victor Marx. Do you really care about what Victor Marx has to say? No, right? So I wish Candace Owens was more busy with some people who are actually important, who actually know something. For example, a Nick Fuentes, or maybe just ask Erica Kirk about everything what she is doing now with Turning Point USA. Because many people, they are so curious what she is doing now. Why did she become the chairman of Turning Point USA? Why is he doing all these kind of things? That's more important. But again, this is just my opinion. I'm very curious about your opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with Candace? What do you think about JD Vance and his speech at like Turning Point USA? Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Do you think JD Vance is like a weird vice president? I'm very curious about your opinion. Please share your opinion in the comments. It's very important to say. I read all comments. I even try to reply to some of your comments. So please let me know. As well, guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. If you really like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. I would appreciate it even more. And then you make sure you don't miss anything. Last but not least, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!